Okay, so I believe we're streaming live into Supercharge Your Sales Success, which will be amazing if we are. Yes, we're live in the group, so that is a big win for Friday. So hello everybody, I hope you're well. Probably seen so much of me this week, and it's been amazing. We just finished on Friday today with the wrapping up of Sales Conversations That Convert, which of course is all important part. So a lot of you won't have caught up on that replay yet, so it's in the group and it will be winging its way on email to you. There's plenty of time. I know a lot of you are still catching up with the other videos as well. So I wanted to bring someone in the group, Andrea O'Neill. Andrea is one of my clients, and Andrea went through the Sales Success Accelerator as well. And so I've just brought her here for a few minutes to talk to you about her experience, really, how she experienced the challenge, how she experienced me, what she thought she needed, and what she got from the program, in her own words, of course. So welcome, Andrea. Thanks so much. And Andrea is a mediator, fully trained mediator and conflict coach as well. So thanks for being with us today, Andrea. It's lovely to have you.
Thank you for asking me. It's lovely to be here, Teresa.
Yeah, good to see you. So you came through the last challenge, and what did you appreciate, or what pennies dropped for you during the challenge around, because you were just launching your coaching business, weren't you?
I suppose really when I went into the challenge, it was just to get a few tips. That's initially what I went in for, a few tips on how I was going to sell my services out there. But at the end of the challenge, I realized it was so much more. It was something that was going to give me the skills to fill the gap that I had. So I had a certain expertise in coaching and in mediation, but I was green when it came to sales. So after doing the 5-day program, I realized that gap was even bigger than I thought it was.
Right.
You had so much knowledge, and it just made it seem so logical, and there was so much information there that I was kind of going, I need Teresa on my team. Teresa needs to be part of this journey. So I suppose really when I decided then to, work with you, Teresa, or for you to work with me, I really thought what I was going to get was the ability to kind of sell my product and my services, and the tools to, I suppose, to put myself out there on social media and everything else. But like what I got was so much more than that. I mean, from the start, Teresa, I hated social media with a passion. I was terrified of it.
So you're not alone there. I think a lot of people hate social media with a passion, but of course we love it when it works for us. That's okay then. Just finding that balance.
When I say I hate it with passion, I don't mean that the hate wasn't for the actual social media or the interaction with people, because I love that. And I mean, from working with you, I was able to pinpoint what my values were and know what they were. And one of those things was connection. So really social media suits me down to the ground, but it was the fear. That's what it was. It wasn't the hate, it was the fear of social media.
Yeah, well, it's different, isn't it? I mean, I think a lot of women like yourself that have come from, corporate background, really experienced in what you're doing, and you move into this new space. And of course, as I was talking earlier in the group training, a new space is an evolution, and it requires, you kind of feel all new and out of your comfort zone. And so when you're trying to put together, like you were, all the messaging, the ideal client, working out your program prices, niching, sales, it was all kind of it's a bit overwhelming, isn't it? Let's be honest, we've all felt overwhelmed in some way in our business. So you decided to join the accelerator because you felt, in your words, like a bit green around the gills around it all. And also I'm hearing that you said that there was it raised awareness of which skills you needed and which gaps you wanted to fill. And I think that's really important. And which gaps did it fill for you? Because obviously you talked about values. We do a lot of deep values work, which perhaps some of the students, when they come in, the women, aren't expecting to go so deep.
Yeah, and I don't even think I realised what their importance was until I went. And then I realised, having gone through the Accelerator program, that they actually were the foundation of everything else that was going to be built on top of that. But another area was ideal client. I found it so hard to figure out who my ideal client was. I wanted to serve the world, So
love that.
It was trying to break that down into who my ideal client was. so that I could connect with them on the social media platform, so I could connect to them in my message, and so I could connect them to them in whatever way I could, so that I could serve them, not sell them, so I could serve them.
Yeah, beautiful. So it's getting all those kind of like bits lined up, isn't it? And, you know, what did you find difficult at the beginning about, for instance, the ideal client work? You said, oh, I wanted to serve the world. I think a lot of coaches are like that. I certainly feel like that still sometimes now. It's like, oh no, I think I'll just, you know, anybody that wants to come. But of course, that doesn't really work. But what did you find hard about it, really, that the program helped you to change? How did it help you?
I think one of the things I found hard was letting go the potential of work in every area. Do you know, that fear, again, it's a fear thing, that fear that if you niche in and decide on your ideal client, or you pick that ideal client, that you're actually shutting yourself off from other areas that you could be working in.
Yeah.
So that was my fear. But actually, when you realize, you know, and you work through the ideal client, that actually, if anything, it helps grow you in more areas. So really
we're talking about that this week, really, that it's not shrinking mindset, but it's expansive. But it feels that way at first, because it feels like you're making it smaller to kind of have a better range, you know, of ideal clients that can be attracted to you.
Yeah, and I think also working with you, Teresa, it gave me, and I mean, I think I said in one of your posts, it was transformational in that you gave me the confidence. I knew my stuff. I knew I could serve these people, but I hadn't got the confidence to put myself out there. And I suppose working through the Sales Accelerator program that I went on to learn how to sell actually gave me the confidence to sell from a place of authenticity, I suppose is the word, and from my values and from my heart, really. So, I mean, that confidence came from working with you.
Yeah, the confidence, I think, is the key, isn't it? Because sometimes you can have all of the strategy, you can know all the stuff and still not do it because you're not confident enough. And so that's something that I think, you know, comes with practice as well. And of course, you know, it's nice to be in a group, isn't it, with other women who are at the same stage and, you know, different stories, different contexts, but pretty much doing the same thing. How did you find that group environment?
Yeah, I couldn't have done it without the group environment, Teresa, if I'm honest. It was that support. You know, we all had ups and downs at different stages. We supported each other through them. You know, that's the way, you know, business is. And, you know, running your own business, it's a bit like a roller coaster. There's highs and there's lows. But when you have a team there behind you and there's a connection, there's a friendship that forms, and we have each other's back, you know, that kind of way that we can kind of say, you know, okay, this is this, but what have you learned from it? And, you know, and this is where you're good at. And this, so it's that constant support that we give to each other. And that's invaluable, because when you feel supported, you feel like you can rule the world. You know,
exactly. Like, it's not a nice feeling to feel on one's own. It's not a natural zone to operate from. It can be a difficult one, but also we want to learn to operate, to be able to operate from that. But, you know, in those periods where we don't have that support, or we're not in a program, or we're just kind of getting on with it. But yeah, and so I think, you know, it's lovely how you kind of say, even though you finish the program, you still say we, you know, because obviously we carry on after that with the coaching, and that's really amazing. So what do you think that you got from the program that you weren't expecting, aside from that confidence building? Is there anything that you were like, oh, wasn't expecting that?
I think I got a huge understanding of me, if that makes any sense. So we're so busy in our lives, and look, I've had my own business, like, you know, for as long as, like, the last 20 years I've been self-employed, and you know, you're just busy, you're looking after family, but you never stop to actually figure out what you're all about. And this program also gave the opportunity to learn that about yourself. I've learned so much about myself from doing that program. And
you have transformed, I have to say. I've seen it, you know, and it's lovely.
Yeah, so it is. Yeah, no, that has been what I didn't expect. As I said, I went in hoping to learn how to sell my services so I could reach the clients that, you know, needed me to help them in any way I could. And I got so much more, because I ended up serving myself by trying to serve my clients. And by understanding me, I can serve my clients even better than I ever anticipated.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no,
it's exciting. It's brilliant. And
Yeah,
just so everyone knows, anyone that's listening, is that Andrea was absolutely, I think it's fair to say, you're a bit frozen with the posting on social media side. And literally, since we did a bit of a breakthrough session together as well, she has literally, well, she's vulnerable, did a beautiful post on LinkedIn today, lots of comments. It's just like set you kind of free, hasn't it? Do you know what I mean? And that's been the real difference. And of course, you have learned how to sell. And talking about the selling, what did you think to the sales training and the process and the structure of the program? Did you enjoy that?
I loved it. As Tracy, you
love process.
I love processes and I love steps, because if I have steps and processes to finish, I know I have a good chance of getting it right.
Yes.
So, and I remember my first discovery call after doing the program, and I had my steps beside me thinking, and we had done a pre-run, but you'd given us a practice run and we'd worked with each other on doing our discovery calls. And then when it came for real, I had my steps beside me. But at that stage, I actually knew it so well. It just came natural.
Yes.
And because you understood, so you didn't just give us the steps, you explained to us why those steps were important and what those steps meant for the client and why they were important to do those steps and what that connection meant with the client. So when it came to the first discovery call, even though I had my 10 steps printed out and I had them beside me, I knew it. I knew what I needed to do. Because you'd worked so well with us and got us to that stage. That.
So exciting, so great. For me, when like a woman will say, oh, I can't do it, I don't feel comfortable, I can't sell, I don't know all these bits, and then just listening to that, it's like bliss to my ears, because you could actually feel your way through that call. Do you know what I mean? And of course it was successful, wasn't it?
It was. And I would say everyone I've done since has been successful. So
there you go.
If anybody's wondering, do the 10 steps of work, they do.
The 10 steps. Yeah, that's quite good. Perhaps I should call it that. It sounds quite good, doesn't it? Not 12 steps, but the 10 steps. And the fact that you like each one that you've done since then, so we could call that 100% conversion rate, really, couldn't we, in your discovery calls? And do you think you would have got that before?
No, because I was too uncertain of, I suppose, exactly what my service was. I was too uncertain of what my ideal client needed. I was too, and because I was throwing the net so wide out there that I was trying to connect with 100 different places. Yeah. Where when I was able to bring that down to the ideal client, you could, cast that net out, and you knew that the people that were going to come to you were going to connect because they were your ideal client, because you understood them, because when they
sounds simple, doesn't it? It just sounds so simple, and somehow we wrap ourselves in absolute knots about it. And this is what I try and do, is untangle all of that in the program in a really logical way, but also give you the mindset tools and confidence shifts and the self-belief. We do tackle quite a lot really with the guest experts around imposter, comparison, and all those kinds of things that do creep in, that are part of that foundational mindset work. And so when it's all absorbed, and of course it's great because you can go back to it at any point, but Andrea, it doesn't sound like you need to, because you've got it nailed and you've got your discovery calls down. But what's interesting as well is if you hit any little blips or blocks, or someone asked you a question, like we talked about objections today, how would you feel about handling those now?
Well, but one, so I'll give you one that I'm working on at the moment. So I'm working on my MailChimp and my email sequence at the moment. Great. And I'm able to go back into Kajabi and look over that. And I'm able to go back into, because as part of the course, we did the email sequence. So I'm able to go back into that now and kind of look at where I need to be, where I need to think. So I have my process to follow for the things that you wouldn't know. If you're doing a discovery call, that becomes more routine, because hopefully you're doing them kind of more often and more often. Whereas something like your email sequence or something like that, you mightn't, be going to that every week. So that's something you need to get back on. And then there's so much information and booklets and resources there available that you can go back at any time and have a look. So you're never high and dry again. Like, it's not as if you have to remember. You can go back and go through it.
And I think it's important that these programs that we invest in and that we do, I think it's important that we keep that access to them. I have no problem with people having that access, because you know, I think I've got programs that I've invested in and I have full access to them, like a lifetime access, and it's absolutely invaluable. You know, it really is. And of course, the more that goes in there, the more I get out of it. So it's like the best money that I ever spent. And of course, let's talk about the investment, because the price of the program, obviously, you went for the VIP last time, didn't you? And how did you find that a benefit? Because you had, you know, the coaching sessions, but you also had the Voxer, which was a new thing to you. So you had that one-to-one support. And how did you find that as a benefit?
Yeah, well, one, I loved the Voxer initially, and you know this to yourself, Teresa. It was nearly because I went for that. I didn't want to be bothering anybody, and I was afraid to use the Voxer. And you know, Teresa, you'd say to me, like, you're not. You'd send me a message and say, "How's your day going? How's your week going?" And it's like a little walkie-talkie. Yeah.
Yes.
And I remember one conversation saying to you, I didn't want to be bothering you. And you saying, that's what I'm here for. So from then on, I was able, I suppose I felt that it was okay. It's like as if I needed permission, you know. Now that has all changed because we've done loads of mindset work, but I needed permission to kind of reach out. So I found that so valuable that it is now something I use with my own clients. So
yeah, brilliant. That's how I discovered it, from my coach.
Yeah, and they find it brilliant. So they're able to connect in with me. Good. And even if it's a thing that it's just, you know, am I doing this right? Or is this what I should be doing? And, you know, that thing. So
those like real-time moments when you're like, oh, have I really got to wait till next module or next coaching session to answer this? And I think that's, you know, it's what happens in between the modules, in between any coaching sessions. And so, you know, I'm always available on there, and, you know, can't get you off it now, can we? So listen, just to wrap up, thank you for sharing your experience. What would you say to anybody who's sitting on the fence or thinking about it, or perhaps wasn't thinking that they would join a program, but now they're quite interested? What would be your words of wisdom about it, you know, to really help them with that decision?
Yeah, I would say, you know, don't overthink this. Yeah, I can guarantee you won't regret it. You know, it's that kind of, you know, because we're coming from that mindset, the unsureness of everything. And really, this was for me the best decision I made, and it's the thing that's progressed my business to where it is now. So for anybody sitting on the fence, if you want your business to go forward and you want to grow yourself as a person, go for it. You know, don't think about it. Just go for it. You won't regret it.
Yeah, we can overthink a lot of things, can't we? And if you had to describe me as a coach in one sentence, maybe, I don't know if I should ask this, and I will ask this, what would you say?
I'm laughing because Teresa knows I don't do one sentence, so I never shut up.
I'm just not sure what you're going to put in the one sentence.
So I suppose, because Teresa knows one of my main values is connection, and Teresa's values, I know one of her values is connection. And that's what Teresa gave me. Teresa gave me connection. She gave me connection to where I needed to be. She gave me connection to who I wanted to be. And she gave me connection to who I was. So
oh, I love that. That's wonderful. I'm so happy for you. It's lovely to still be part of your journey. It's lovely to watch how you've come through the program and the process in itself. You know, this is just really the beginning. So super, super exciting as you get ready to launch your program in January. So that'll be great. So thanks for joining us, Andrea. I really appreciate you sharing your time to talk to some of the ladies, because you know what it's like. You go through things and, you know, you want to hear what other people have experienced. And, you know, I, for one, if I join anything, I'm always binging all the testimonials and the videos, thinking, oh, what do I think, what they're saying? So it's really, really helpful. So thanks ever so much. And I will speak to you again. I'll see you again very soon, no doubt.
Thank you so much. And bye, everybody.
All right, take care. Bye-bye. Bye.